check, 1, 2, check, 1, 2. And just like that, iRacing was back. Thank you so much for tuning in to Verdane TV here for a little bit of a season kickoff with TCM, giving us a Tim's Corner Motorsports special event here at easy enough for me to say. It's going to be a long night, ladies and gentlemen, here at North Wilkesboro Speedway. It's going to be a really long night. We're going to have to get a little rum and coke action going on here. Calm these nerves. Been a long time since we've been up here in the booth here in the iRacing world. Well, we were here Monday, but lots of new things. Lots of things have changed here at Verdane TV. Very excited to get things kicked off here with TCM. Got a little bit of hardware upgrade, using some different software on the back end here. You might see, you know what? It looks kind of sort of the same, Paul. What the heck are you talking about? It's a lot easier now and a lot less headaches. That way we can focus on the action. And that's going to be a lot of fun, and that's what we're after here tonight. Showtime Paul Strickland Jr. up here, kind of sort of solo, waiting to see how qualifying ends out. Just had qualifying, took a handful of drivers in qualifying, and actually no, we're lining them all up in heat races. 4 heat races here tonight, consies, all sorts of stuff, taking 4 from each, and my buddy Ashton Reekie going to try and get in this race. He's starting P10 here in this heat race. Got to make your way up through the field here, Ashton.
We're going to hope for a shot in a prayer here, because I'm not much of a late model driver. I'm usually driving the Legend cars, but I like coming out here, supporting you, supporting Tim, and have a lot of fun with you guys usually at Tim's Corner TV, so figured I'd give it a shot and see what happens.
So it's going to be a lot of fun here. We're not going to talk to Ashton while he's racing here, but throughout these heat races, maybe the consi, we'll see what happens. Get him up here in the broadcast production trailer / hangout where all the cool kids hang out. Getting ready to go here, and you can see Brett Suggs and Travis Roma up on the front row. Just kidding, that's Chris Roma, his brother, up on the front row. Greg Tully, Ryan Libby, Scott Dross, Travis Roma, Brandon Newhouse, John Byron, as it were, Jake Goodwich, Ashton Reekie, our very own Ryan Walsh, Dylan Black, going to be the 12 drivers kicking it off here in heat race number 1. Going to give a shout out to everybody watching out on the interwebs, doing the simulcast deal. We're live on Twitch, we're live on Facebook, we're live on YouTube, and we are green. Barney in the flag stand raised that green flag, and that is the best sound in the world. A bunch of late models, slamming on through the gears, getting all the way up in the RPM. It's great to see lots of familiar paint schemes here on these super late models, some new ones as well, and some old rivalries. We're going to throw a little match on, some gasoline or some diesel, whatever you may want to do there, because we saw some great racing throughout the last season here. And there's our buddy Ashton pointed in the wrong direction. Looks like still green at this point. Scott Drost in the 45 involved as well, but it's still up front. no stranger to the lead. Brett Suggs in that 33 machine, holding on to it about 4 car lengths or so over the 83 machine of Roma. Ryan Libby up in the mix as well. Craig Tully, Travis Roma rounding out the current top 5. Try and be live and interactive all the way throughout the night here, live on the Facebook page, Vidane TV, Tim's Corner Motorsports. Shout out to David Woodridge for the tip. Robert Miner is watching as well. Craig McKay watching here as well. And we're over on Twitch too, Strictly 94, my own personal Twitch, doing a little action over there. And as always, on the YouTube app, you can pull that up on your smart TV, load us up on the big screen, and hey, let your neighbors know you're watching some entertaining iRacing action here live on Vidane TV. And man, oh man, you can see Brett Suggs has not missed a beat. Probably been iRacing this whole time. There's a lot of real racing as well down in North Carolina. One of the, probably about a dozen or so Americans in the field here tonight. A lot of the Neps guys in the Pennsylvania iRacing group jumping on board here tonight. There's maybe 6 or 8 of those guys in here as well. You can see a couple cars back. Chris Roma and the 83 car right in the tire tracks, but a little bit further on back. Brett Suggs really hitting his marks up there in the lead, a little bit further on back. That 46 car of Ryan Libby, another one of the Americans up in the field, holding on to that podium spot. You can see pretty much single file here throughout the entire field. At this point, everybody doing a little bit of homework. They know they're going to take the top 4. Suggs, Roma, Libby, and Tully. Travis Roma on the outside looking in at the 38 machine there. You can see equal distancing between the top 5 drivers. A little bit further on back, you see that 57 car of John Byron, and Brandon Newhouse right in behind him, the 03 machine. A little bit of a battle there for the 7th place. Dylan Black in the 08, gaining 3 spots from shotgun on the field. He's going to try and move his way a little bit closer, try and get himself at least a good qualifying position there in the Concy race coming up later on here this evening. Jake Goodwin, Brian Walsh right in behind Scott Dross. Still kind of out there, a little bit of damage on the 45 car. Ashton Riki, I'm sure he's doing his best. But there you see it, white clad, white rag, Brett Suggs, 9/10 of a second lead over that 2nd place driver. And you can see coming out of turn number 4, picking up heat race number 1 on the season, Brett Suggs, Chris Roma, Ryan Libby, Craig Tully, and Travis Roma going to round out your top 5. There you can see the finishing results there for heat race number 1 as we get heat race number 2 lined up there in the background. This one's going to be going to line up a little bit different. Good mix of Canadians and Americans in this 2nd heat race. Barrett Bonner and the 812 car going to start P1 with Mike Rhino right on his outside. The 81 car, Kyle Boudreau up there as well. James Pileski, there's a name I haven't heard in a very, very long time. James Pileski going to start P4 here tonight. Good buddy of mine from way back when. Nick Conner in the 54 car rounding out the top 5. How about this pair from NEP? Kenny Kibbe, Ryan Salvatore in the 4 and the 12. Chris McKenna, Dan Withers, Josh Langell, Jeff Narn, and Phil Fowler rounding out the 12 cars in heat race number 2. And man, this has been pretty exciting. And Ashton, it seems like you got yourself a little bit of work to do in that Conti you said you weren't going to be in.
Yeah, I was hoping not to be there. Yeah, I just started coming up the track. I thought the 45 was going to come up to the wall out of the corner, and he started coming down. And I feel bad. I kind of got into his back end there and spun him around. So I think we were probably both going to end up at the back anyways, but now I got a little bit more work to do.
Doing double duty tonight because now it gives somebody to talk to for a couple of these heat races at the very least here. And you were in the car for about 12 laps or so, 10 laps to be exact, plus qualifying. What did you notice anything change in that short run on the car itself? Did it loosen up, tighten up? What are we looking at here as a driver?
I find they're tightening up, which is probably a good thing because early on in practice, the back end was wanting to swing out a lot on them. Again, not being used to the late models, it's kind of a whole new ball game for me. So I'm enjoying it. It's going to be, hopefully I can come through the Consi somehow and put on a show come feature time.
Lots of big names, lots of popular names coming up through the ranks here at TCM, especially with these late model cars, always putting on phenomenal racing. And it's one phenomenal show here with Tim's Corner Motorsports as well. Action-packed heat race number 1 getting ready to line them up, or we're already lined up. We're getting ready to go green flag racing for heat race number 2. There goes the green flag, and there goes all the super late model motors jamming through the gears once again and getting down through turns number 1 and 2. And Bonner has about a 3-4 car length lead over Mike Rhino in that second position. The 34 car now finally breaks away and is able to clear that third place car of the 81 of Drew. I'm going to butcher that name all night long. James Molesky and Nick Conner rounding out the top 5. Sorry, Kyle. We'll call you Kyle 81. But there you see single file once again. A little bit of action. Well, that sounded like big action. There you see the Conner machine, the 54, sideways. And, lots of calamity all the way around the racetrack here. That is going to bring out the first caution flag here tonight. And we're going to take a look at that with the U-House Racing Designs instant replay and the beauty of the video photography here that we have in the old iRacing world. Is we can take a look at that from the blimp. And I bet you didn't know we had a blimp. Well, if you've been playing along the past couple of years, you know we don't actually have a blimp. But in any sense, the U-House Racing Designs instant replay. There's the initial contact between the 93 and the 54. You can see that little quarter panel action, 14 nowhere to go. There you see the couple of other cars in there as well. Salvatore in the 12 and 47 had nowhere to go. Racing grooves were blocked there at that point. Big hit there from Pileski due to the 54. Well, how you doing at that point? So tough break for these guys. Gonna have to get it lined back up here. You got a little bit of an opportunity here to try and get up through the field. But with 7 to go, you got to figure these guys are going to be looking to try and learn a thing or two about how the cars handle, how the other drivers are handling here as well, and see if they can use it in the Conti.
Yeah, that one there, sorry, Paul, I'm just going to jump in here. It looks like the 54 kind of tagged the 93 off the corner. And it got them both loose. 54 tagged the wall, and that caused a mess. Kind of wish that was my heat, though. I might have had a chance.
Almost one of these races, we're just going to get out there with the production trailer and see what we can do. We'll see if we can come up with a P last deal there. The 18 car looks like struggling just a bit with the connection, blinking in and out. That's going to be frustrating for the driver with the connection issue, but everybody else involved as well, is they're going to have to try and guess where that driver is. Looks like it's all evened out now, but you can see Bonner able to pull away here. A little side-by-side action for second, and a Hornet's Nest back in there for the mid-pack on back. A little side-by-side, little bumper action, door action, the 35 under the 47. These guys leaning on each other here after.
Yeah, they really are. Again, I'm wishing this was my heat. I might have had a chance to get up there, but you mentioned the production truck. Maybe we need to get buses. Talk to iRacing and see if we can get some buses racing.
A couple of short buses, a couple of long buses, tour buses, whatever we need to make a little magic happen. The 18 car, Josh Hendrick, really struggling with that connection issue. Looks like he's going to be down on pit road, see if we can get it sorted out, and that kind of evens everything out here. As we can see, Bonner with the popsicle sticks, 2 to go here in heat race number 2, and you can already see the cream starting to kind of rise to the top. Some familiar names, some new names making their ways up towards the top 4 so far. Bonner, Rhino, Badur, Kyle, sorry Kyle, Kenny Kibbe in the top 4. James Pileski on the outside looking in, going to try and see if he can make a little magic happen coming out of 4, but not quite enough as... Well, nope, that was the backstretch. Just kidding. Coming out of turn number 4. Heat race number 2 going to go to Barrett Bonner in that 812 machine. Right in behind him is Mike Rhino, Kyle in the 81 car. Kenny Kibbe going to make the big show here tonight. James Pileski, Chris McKenna, Salvatore, Withers, Codner, Landchild, Nairn, and Fowler going to have to try and race it in through that Conti that we're coming up there. And you can see the heat race results there on your screen for heat race number 2. And right on the left-hand side of your screen, that's going to be the lineup for heat race number 3. And Ashton, this is a powerhouse front row. 75, Mike Alexander starting P1. Richard Drake going to start in P2.
Yeah, Richard Drake is I raced with him all last year in another league here that we had, and with this one, and only got to meet him in person just actually like about a month ago. So it was kind of kind of interesting. And he's got the Laker News on the front there, which is also a close friend of ours here in Nova Scotia that does a lot of our Twitter stuff at Scotia Speed World.
100%. Just taking a peek here at the lineup for heat race number 3. Matthew Barkhouse, Caden Tufts right in behind them. Greg Kenny, Aiden Christensen in 5th and 6th. How about Nathan Langile in the 27th starting P8, and Mr. Corey Casagrande starting in that 7 car in P7. And Gunnar Rushton going to start, looks like shotgun on the field, looking at the 88 of Caden Tufts, Aiden Christensen, and Joey Steers not making it to the car call. So, not sure what a car call is. I just kind of made that up. Didn't quite make it to the car when they made it. So, we may see those cats in the consi here coming up here. But, Ashton, we've seen a couple of starts, a couple of restarts here tonight. What's going through these drivers' heads? They see the iRacer pace cars. I believe it's a Mustang pace car. Shut the lights off, get ready to go green here.
I mean, what's going through their head and what was going through mine was two different things. I would say it depends if they've been in the car all year, right? I haven't been iRacing much, so mine was just try and keep it clean, keep it down to the bottom, and get out of the way. So if these guys have been racing, it's game on. They're ready to go, and throttle's down, and 75's taking off.
Mike Alexander, Magic Mike Alexander, the master of restarts, getting that 75 out to where he needs it to be. Up front, lots of clean air on the front of that machine. Richard Drake right in behind him, the rational Richard Drake. A little side-by-side action for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Greg Kenny in the 90 car wants a little piece of the action. He knows these guys racing real hard in front of him. If he can get around one of those cars, he's going to make the big show. Hey, you see big wiggle there for Markhouse in the number 15, but he holds on to it. He's got the advantage down on that bottom side. But the 18 car, that's going to be, that's actually going to be Corey Casagrande in that 18 car. Trying to make that eyesight work and trying to, we don't want to say spoil the show. There's a little rub inflation, a little super late model rub, if you will. Corey Casagrande sliding on back to 5th, and they single file out there for about the first 5 cars. Further on back, you can see a little bit of a nudge there from Nathan Langile to the John Murphy machine, trying to get up towards the front. 27 car, a little bit of damage there on the right front tire, but still making it happen. HendrickCars.com, number 2, big time damage there. You're going to Rustin, Aiden Christensen, Caden Tufts, Steers still down in the garage area. But back up front, Mike Alexander, that lead shrank just a little bit. You can see rational Richard Drake really doing everything he can to try and close up on the back bumper of that black and yellow number 75 car. Oh, the Sunny D car might need to wake up just a little bit there on track in the racing room. But 5 laps to go here in heat race number 3. Logging laps at this point. Mike Alexander just trying to practice leading, doing everything he can to try and do his homework, essentially. He wants to see where Richard Drake is going to beat him in the corners and try and kind of better himself throughout the long run here. A little short run, kind of feels out the car, sees what the tires are going to do on 10 laps of racing. It doesn't look like it's slowing these guys down too much. You can see Mike Alexander still holding on to that lead, pretty much right down on that bottom through the racetrack. Right in the tire tracks. And again, he's going to school as well, doing a little research, doing a little homework, trying to see where that 75 car's slower, where he might make a mistake, or what he's got to do to try and get up and around him and try and come home with a victory here tonight. But I can tell you for certain, these top 3 cars right now, single file, going to be a factor in the big show here later on tonight. Mike Alexander, Richard Drake, and Matthew Barkhouse are right in behind them. But they go down into 3 and 4 for the final time in this heat race. Checkered flag flying in the air. Mike Alexander going to come home with a heat race victory. Richard Drake in P2, Matthew Barkhouse and Craig Kenny going to be making the show. Corey Casagrande, Nathan Langile, John Murphy, and Gunnar Rushton going to have to make it this one in the consolation race coming up here. But just like that, heat race number 4 getting ready to line up on the front straightaway. 10 cars making up the field for this one. Noel Flugier going to start P1 with Jason Goss starting in second. Tanton Woldridge and Danny Vitch going to be in row number 2. 5 positions back, or the 5th position as it were, the 93 of Scott Negus going to start there. Dave Roberts on his outside. P7, how about Magic Mike Hopkins, lone American in this heat race, going to start in 7th. 8th place is going to go to Tony Wright. Jason Halverson and Norman Hamilton are going to round out the 10 cars in this one. Michael Fancy in the 47 not making the start to this one. So does have an opportunity to make it into the field here by getting into the consolation race. Coming up shortly, I believe it's coming up next, if my math is correct. Open the show up for 46 drivers, and each and every single one of those positions has been filled, and we are taking 24 drivers to the big show here tonight. We've got our buddy Ashton Reiki here, kind of still has the driver's suit on, going to have to jump into the Consi race and see if he can race his way into this one, but if not, he'll be calling the action here on Verdane TV. Want to thank everybody again for tuning in here on a Thursday night to Verdane TV's coverage of Tim's Corner Motorsports. Little summer test and tune 100 laps on the docket here from North Wilkesboro. But before we get there, heat race number 4. And how about the shot from Fougier all the way up into the lead? 2 car lengths now between he and the 41 car, Goss. It's like a new paint scheme there for the young Tanton Woldridge running in P3. Cool number placement on that thing. A little bit different. I kind of like it. Kind of reminds me of like an old iROC style car, but you can see those single file drivers up in the top 3 have pretty much sorted it out. A little bit further on back. Danny Vitch has some breathing room, and he's got that transfer spot in P4. Dave Roberts right in behind him. He's leading a couple of cars right bumper to bumper with each other. Mike Hopkins, Scott Negus trying to do a little battle in there. You can see the 91 car in as a front row seat to that battle. Jason Halverson, Tony Wright, Norman Hamilton out on track as well, still trying and make his way up and around this racetrack. And as all that's going on, 0.7 of a second is the lead. Noel Fougier over Tanton Woldridge, Jason Goss in second now, as a little bit of a swap there for fourth position. Danny Vitch closing the gap just a little bit more. You can see trying to see if he can get up and around. He's in a good spot right now. Needs to make sure that he keeps everybody else in behind him. Hopkins, Roberts, Negus, all those guys, because he knows the top 4 transfer on into the big show here tonight. Don't want to try and have to race in through the context. I promise you, all the action we've seen here in these heat races, you can absolutely bet it's going to double, maybe even triple once we get down to that Consi race. But you can see right now, still 0.7 of a second to lead between Fougier and Woldridge.
Yeah, you mentioned Woldridge's paint scheme there. His legend car that he runs around here in Nova Scotia is actually almost identical to that. It is very different. It is very unique. As a photographer, it's a lot of fun to take a picture of it. That bright blue really pops. It's really cool.
100%. That's what you really need if you're a race car driver. You want to try and make a name for yourself, or make an image, or make a brand. You need something that pops. You need something a little bit different. You can kind of zoom out just a bit. You can see there's a lot of black and a lot of white cars, a lot of black and white, a couple of grays in there, some silvers, but then you've got that bright blue there. And then you've got Danny Vitch's car. What would you call that? Loud?
Yeah, that's extravagant. We'll go with
extravagant. I like it. Good clean racing here in the 4th heat race. You can see pretty much single file all the way around the racetrack here. We can actually zoom all the way the heck out. From that blimp cam, you can see everybody's pretty much just doing some live practice laps at this point, trying to see what the car's going to do. And they know that the final lap here, Noel Fougier, strong command of the lead. Still about 6.5 of a second or so over Tanton Woldridge. Goss in the 41 car going to come back in 3rd. Danny Vitch going to make the show, finishing in 4th. Hopkins going to have to try and make his way into the Consi, as does Roberts, Negus, Halverson, Wright, and Hamilton. But man, just like that, 4 heat races up, 4 heat races down. We'll let Ashton zip that driver's suit up one more time. He's going to get into this consolation race. 15 drivers taking the top 4. And you can see Travis Roma, Corey Casagrande going to start P1 on this one. Nathan Langile, Josh Byron starting in P2. How about Brandon Newhouse in the 03 car, John Murphy in the 216. Top 6 drivers there. You can see the rest of the starting grid on your screen. But an action-packed night so far, and the action isn't going anywhere at this point. It's going to be right here on Verdane TV.
I'm thinking they take top 4, but for some reason I read up at the top that it looked like only one qualifies from the C main to the B main, but I might have misread that.
We'll get clarification from the rules here. Actually, we'll see if we can maybe dial up the big boss man and see how many we taking from the Conti here, Tim.
4 each.
4 each. Thanks, Tim. Just like the heat races, 4 drivers in this one going to transfer on, and looks like 10 drivers on track for this one. Caden Tuss, Ryan Walsh, Aiden Christensen, Scott Dross, Joey Steyers there on your scoring. Did not make the green flag, or did not make the call there, so they're going to be down in the stands watching this one on Verdane TV. But 10 drivers going for 4 spots. Last chance for romance, as our buddy Mike James from Up on the Rock likes to say, and this is going to get wild. Travis Roma starting P1, Corey Casagrande there on P2. The lights are off in the iRacing Mustang pace car. Going to take these drivers around one more parade lap as they're lined up 2 by 2 by 2 all the way through this field. And that pace car driver getting ready to take his safety trip down pit road, grab a nice cold Coke and a corn dog, and watch some racing here live on Verdane TV. Here from North Wilkesboro. 100 laps on the docket for the big show, and this right here, this is the last chance to get into that big show. And there goes the pace car driver. We're going to wait for that. Well, we're not going to wait at all. Green flag flies, and we're racing. Once again, Conti race here. Travis Roma takes the lead. Corey Casagrande right on his back bumper. Couple of car lanes back, slides on back just a little bit. John Byron, Nathan Langile, side by side. A little bit of a wiggle there from the 57. In that one, a little door scrapage there, just a little bit. Oh, the Sunny D car is around. Big time slide for the 216. The 875 involved as well. They're going to try and get that cleaned up. Still green here in this one with 11 laps to go. Caution flag will, in fact, fly on that one. That is a tough break for a handful of drivers. And we're going to take a look once again at the...
Paul, I'm going to take this as a win. I've avoided 2 wrecks.
Count it. Count it, absolutely. We'll take a peek at it here on the U-House Racing Designs instant replay. See if we can see where old Ashton missed this one. But we'll take a peek here. Live TV, that's how we do. We're going to focus in the 875. We know there's the little bit of a slide for the 875. The Sunny D car just out of shape there. The 216 all the way up the track and just loses the back end of the race car. Unfortunately, the 875 is there. There goes Ashton. Whoop, just like that. A couple of big hits, though, on the front ends of those cars. It's going to take just a little bit for those drivers to try and get the virtual sheet metal bang down on that. So we'll see what they can do and see if they've got enough time to try and make their way back up towards the front of the pack. But still, Travis Roma, Corey Casagrande up in the top 2. And just like that, iRacing pace car lights, they're out. Getting ready to go racing once again. Green flag flying once again. 9 laps to go here in the Conti. You can see Roma with a great restart. Side by side in behind them for 3rd. Side by side in behind them. Side behind. Oh, nope, just kidding. The 2 car gets it sorted out. A little bit sideways back there. Ashton Reeky doing everything he can. Biggest mover. 8 spots gained on the night. In P7, 3 more to go to the transfer spot. And if these guys keep going, they are going to... they're putting on a show. They're putting on one heck of a show here at North Wilkesboro, and you can see still side by side Corey Casagrande doing everything he can to try and get that high line to work in that number 18 car. He's doing it. Oh, 3 cars up into the outside wall. One of them is our buddy Ashton. Oh man, Ashton, you all right?
Oh yeah, I picked the wrong line to go there. I'm gonna have to pit. I've got my wheels 90 degrees to the right. I don't think that's correct.
Yeah, that is not good. not good. Definitely get the pit crew to take a peek at that. But we'll take, while you're doing that, we're going to take a look at the U-House Race Designs Instant Replay. And, well, I guess third time's a charm here, Ashton. You missed 2 big wrecks, and unfortunately, wrong place, wrong time, it looks like, with this one. Going to back it up, take a peek here from the blimp view. And you can see 2 makes a move down on the bottom of the 27. Everything looks good there. And a little bit of a bumpski there from the 2 car. Ash and Ricky nowhere to go. Up into the outside wall with the 27 and the 2 cars. So a little bit of damage, virtual sheet metal damage for all drivers involved. And we'll see what they can do here in the last handful of laps here. It looks like they're going to restart with about 2 laps to go. And it's still Roma and Casagrande up in the front. Big time wreck on the restart. Brandon U-House makes his way through it. It actually looks like everybody gathers it back up. Little bumper car action here, and man, oh man, this is going to be tight. 4 drivers going to make it. Roma has checked out. Brandon U-House has come from who knows where all the way up to be second. They're side by side for third and fourth. The 88 car checked out the 08 car. Dylan Black trying to make the show down on the bottom side. The 57 up on the high side. John Byron trying to make it work in behind. Jake Goodman in there. Corey Casagrande up in there. Nathan Langile part of this mix as well. And you can see Travis Roma looking in the rearview mirror, laughing. He knows all he's got to do is hit his marks one more time as he comes out of turn 2, sets his sights on 3 and 4. Look at this gaggle of cars. Top 4 make it. The front 3 in this pack are going to make the show. The 875 sending it all the way in. Going to try and get to the back bumper of these drivers. And not. 57 makes it. 874 is going to have to, whoa, Corey Casagrande got his foot stuck on the throttle and is doing some Tony Hawk action, I think. I think that's what that was. Holy moly. Travis Roma comes home with the Consi win. Brandon U-House, Dylan Black, and John Byron going to make the show. Unfortunately, everybody else going to have to, well, not necessarily unfortunately, going to have to sit tight and watch this one. And, well, how about this? A second consolation race with different drivers. Okay. Trying to make sense of all of the things. It's been a little while since we've done this live here on Today TV with Tim's Corner Motorsports. A little bit different setup, a little short track night at the races here, but a lot of fun nonetheless. And we'll take a look at the starting grid here for consolation race number 2. James Pileski in that 93 car. Going to start on the point. Mike Hopkins going to start in second. Chris McKenna, Dave Roberts going to be that second row there. Ryan Salvatore, Marsal TV, check him out on YouTube. Lots of cool stuff going on over there. Going to start in the 5th position. Scott Negus, Dan Withers, Jason Halverson, Nick Conner, Tony Wright, Josh Langile, and Norman Hamilton. Going to round out the 12 car field, it looks like, for the second Consi race. And these drivers know they saw an action-packed Consi race 1 here, Ashton. And, well, it looks like the driver's suit. Leave the pants on at least. Yeah, you know, if you got to drop the top because it's hot or whatever, that's fine. But we're not doing tarps off in the booth. I'm sorry.
Tarp's already off. We're just going to tie it around the waist. We're doing tarps off in the booth. Sorry, buddy.
That's a t-shirt right there. Tarps off in the booth. Let's go.
Yeah, no, that was rough. I don't know if I could have made it up there, but I had nowhere to go. I picked the high side. I really should have kind of tapped the brake and dove low. I think I probably could have avoided it, but it is what it is. That's part of racing.
Now you get to jump into the commentary role. Do a little double duty here tonight at North Wilkesboro. Look at that. I said the name right in the first try. How about it? Mike Hopkins up on the high side. Did not seem to want to go there. James Pileski gets the shot that he needs. The 93 car to get up, to hold on to that lead as they come out of turn number 2. Kind of sort of sorted out for the top 5. Not so much for the mid-pack. Look at this, 3 wide. And now it's 3 sideways. Caution flag flies here on lap number 1 of the second Consi race. And just like the first race, the first Consi race, we knew the action was going to pick up. We knew these drivers had that sense of urgency, easy enough for me to say. And they know they've got to slam that gas pedal down to the ground and try and make that magic happen if they're going to make it into this big show. We're going to take a look at U-House Racing sign in some replay. There's that 3 wide action, and there's that 3 sideways action. We saw a handful of drivers, half a dozen to be exact, involved in that one. Little bumper car action, 81 gets sent into the wrong direction. Looks like he's gathered it back up and going to rejoin the field here. And man, oh man, Ashton, this is I don't want to call it a war of attrition just yet, but these drivers really want to make this show.
Yeah, and I mean, you almost got to settle in for a lap. I mean, there's 12 laps to go out there. Try and settle in, let the tires get a little bit of heat to them, and then kind of go for it. And that's kind of what my mentality was. Now, I mean, I'm not in the show, but I mean, it's do or die or now.
9 laps to go here in the concept. You can see the front 3 drivers sorted out, single file. Blesky, Hopkins, McKenna, Roberts, all in those top 4. Whoa, big time push from the 28 to the 35. He's going to get a taste of it himself. Ryan Salvatore into the back quarter, but almost flips it off on 2 tires. We're wrecking big time. Bada boom on the front straightaway. Caution flag flies once again. And these drivers know that sense of urgency. Everybody needs to get to the front right stat now, it seems like.
Yeah, that was just unlucky. What a save by the 28 didn't save it. I was trying to figure out who he got by the 35 of Chris McKenna. He cranked it hard right and saved it, and then the 28 got what he gave out.
There you can see a little slow-mo action. U-House Race Designs instant replay. There was the tap from the 28 to the 35. They get it sorted out, but Salvatore's got a bit of a run. Didn't quite see what was going on in front of the car in front of him. Gets into the back of the 28, sends him on around, tries to nudge him back and straighten it back out, give him the old pancake straighten out, no harm, no foul. Unfortunately, big harm, big foul. Connor gets a piece of it. The 93 car gets a piece of it as well. But that's the 18 car going all the way down to the inside safety barrier. The 60 gets by as well, and then there's some calamity that ensues in behind them. So handful of drivers getting a little bit of damage here. Some drivers may not even elect to come down pit road and get it repaired. They've got 6 to go here, this Conti race. It's all or nothing. Time to set them up on the dashboard and try and make this big show.
Yeah, especially with all the cautions out front. Maybe you don't repair and try and sit back there and pick off some spots as they wreck in front of you.
There go the lights in the iRacing Mustang pace car, getting ready to line them up 2 by 2 once again. Going to get some racing, going to get that restart here with 4 laps to go. And this is going to be exciting. We've seen great racing so far all night long in the heat races. Some clean racing, some aggressive racing, and a little bit of everything in between. And oh, by the way, we've still got the 100-lap feature coming up here right after this. You definitely do not want to miss that. Taking 24 total. 4 from each heat race, 4 from each consi, and here we go. James Pileski gets that jump. Again, Mike Hopkins in behind him, gets it sorted out. Little side-by-side duel now for third. That 18, going to see if he can make that high side work. Josh Lando up high, Chris McKenna, the 35, down low. And everybody in behind them trying to get up to the top 4. You can see the other 93 car, Scott Negus, trying to get up to the back bumper of that 5th place car of Tony Wright in the 09. Trying to make it happen. Ryan Salvatore, big time run on the high side. Oh, there's some contact. I think the 09 car having connection issues, I think. And
yeah. I think he disappeared and came back.
Yeah, that's tough when that happens. I believe the green flag's going to stay out. Yes, indeed it is. Tony Wright going to call for the virtual tow truck and get that thing off the racetrack. James Pileski out front. Mike Hopkins. A little bit of a challenge from Josh Langell right in behind him. You can see a little bit of damage there on the left-hand side of that race car. Front-hand side, right-hand side as well. Doesn't seem to be slowing him down any. And, well, that may very well might have been how he got some of that damage. Got right up to the back bumper of Mike Hopkins. Almost gave him a shot. You can see just closes right in, but doesn't seem like he's got enough time. James Pileski going to take that checkered flag. Mike Hopkins in second. Josh Langell third, Chris McKenna going to round out the 4, and that's going to be our 4 drivers that are going to, in fact, make it to the B main. And there you can see the results on that. But holy cow, have we got ourselves a show getting ready to do this one as they get about a minute or so for final warm-up. Ashton, what are we looking at here?
This is going to be interesting. There's some really fast guys that qualified through the heats, and then there's also some guys that didn't qualify, even through the B main, C main. It sucks. They got to put it on the trailer and head home virtually. But I'm excited for I'm going to say the top 10 that qualified through the heats. I think there's going to be a lot of side by side in the first 25 laps.
Giving these drivers a final check on all the different buttons, make sure everything is good to go. A couple of drivers making some laps there. Richard Drake currently the fastest. Just kidding. Romo's going to beat him by just a few hundreds, but basically just a final check on all systems, and it appears all systems are go. We're going to get ready to take the green flag for the big one here. The Summer Test into 100, brought to you by Tim's Corner Motorsports. And we want to thank everybody for tuning in here tonight live on Verdane TV here on a Thursday night, taking 24 drivers in this one. Showtime, Paul Strickland up in the broadcast booth, and alongside me, well, I guess we can call him a race car driver. He didn't qualify. A little DNQ action here tonight. But Ashton Ricky, good buddy of mine, joining me up here, calling this one. And we got a driver's perspective now up here in the broadcast booth. These folks out here, the fans, they don't need to listen to me make stuff up.
I don't know if you've got a driver's perspective. I mean, I guess we can call drivers, not race car driver's perspective, though. Like I said, these late models, as much as I know about them and watch them on a weekly basis, they're just not my iRacing vehicle of choice.
Definitely a bit of a learning curve here with the super late models as they continue to kind of grow in popularity in the iRacing world. Red Sug's going to take the pole here for the very first event, the very first TCM special event of the season here. And oh, by the way, the driver that wins this race automatically qualified for the TCM 300 coming up December 9th here on Verdane TV. That's going to be a big-time show. Still looking for partners and sponsors and drivers for that one. So definitely check out timscorner.ca. I don't know why I almost forgot that. timscorner.ca. Look for the iRacing logo, and you'll be able to get all that on there as well. And that's the Facebook page as well. Gives us something to do. And give us a shout over on Verdane TV live, doing the simulcast. We're Twitch, we're Facebook, we're YouTube, the Verdane TV and the Tim's Corner Motorsports Facebook page, the Verdane TV YouTube page, and my Twitch page, Strictly 94. Anybody out there want to watch some mostly Grand Theft Auto and iRacing, but man, oh man, 24 drivers here lined up, lots of familiar names, couple of new names thrown into the mix. And it's going to be some great racing if that's anything compared to what we've seen here so far tonight, Ashton.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just thinking we need to make some kind of a half and half. I don't know if you ever saw the button-up shirts that were half of one thing, half of another, but a Verdane TCM half and half shirt of some sort.
Yeah, we could do like some kind of tear or something where the TCM is under the Verdane and vice versa. Already wrecking, it looks like. Brandon Newhouse up under the outside wall. I believe that's 98. Looks like we are going to stay green. That's Yohe to Dylan Black. Grabs the gear, gets it going again, but big-time track position to try and have to make up with Black and Newhouse. And, man, the action is intense all the way around this racetrack. We got that green flag 2 laps ago. Everybody's still 2x2 all the way around the racetrack.
Yeah, there's quite a few cars going around here. I don't know if the track may have changed, may have cooled off. I'm not 100% sure yet.
Travis Roma, Danny Vitch, the 29, pointed in the wrong direction. We're going to see what it was that happened there with the U-House Race Designs instant replay. I got a feeling U-House Race Design going to get the bang for the buck here with that replay sponsorship there. But we'll take a peek here from the blimp. You can see Pleski up the 93. Down, everything looks good. The 29 car of Vitch, everything is A-okay. And it looks like Vitch loses the back end of the race car just a little bit. Couple of bumper cars, couple of taps. Doesn't look like any major damage for any of these drivers. It's just going to be a matter of trying to get that track position taken care of. You see Brandon Newhouse down on pit road, getting some virtual sheet metal bang down to that one. Right in front of him, Travis Roma trying to get that taken care of as well, involved in that most previous wreck, or the first wreck here of the evening. But up front, still Brett Suggs, Mike Alexander, Barrett Bonner, Noel Fugier, and Chris Roma going to be the top 5 as we work lap 4. Picking them up, putting them down. The lights are off. The iRacing pace car. That only means we're getting ready to go green once again, and we're doubled up all the way through the field. Brandon Newhouse, the only driver down on pit road. Still 23 of the 24 starters out on the lead lap. A couple of cars with some sheet metal damage towards the back of the pack. We'll see how that affects the racing, how that affects the handling. Green flag flies. Brett Suggs, no stranger to those restarts. Oh, Brett Suggs, a little bit of a connection blink. Comes back, everything A-OK. Side by side, though, for second, Mike Alexander, Barrett Bonner. And a little bit of a big bada boom there in turn number 4. Going to pull up that YRD instant replay. I think we got a hotkey set for that thing. It looks like little bumper car action going on, little pushing and shoving. Excuse me, hey, how you doing? You're in my way. I want that position. And oh, now we're pointing. Taking a look at the blimp. Going to focus in here towards the bottom of the screen. There's the middle of the screen. Just kidding. Matthew Barkhouse rather gets turned around. The 14 as well. Ooh, 35. Nowhere to go. Right into the virtual tour there. That 14 car. That's if this is a real race car, that definitely would have hurt. But a couple of drivers getting a little banged up, a little bit out of shape here, and we're working on it. A lot of these drivers haven't really been on the simulator too much over the past couple of months, focusing on the real racing aspect of life, really, working on the cars or working at the track. And Ashton, you all know all about that. You're a driver yourself. You do a lot of photography, and you help out TCM and Tim and all that good stuff. And when real racing season is around, you don't really have too much time to jump on iRacing, do you?
No, myself, I usually it's, come Friday night, I'm at Scotia with Tim, doing my stuff with Winged Up Productions, working with Tim. Saturday, I'm usually on the road at another racetrack, usually with Tim or again with myself. And then Sunday's a day to upload pictures. And then Mondays, I upload them onto our websites. So Tuesday comes around, and throughout all that, I'm a volunteer firefighter also. So Tuesday nights we train. By Wednesday, I'm exhausted, so I usually take a night to myself to relax. And Thursday is get the gear ready, get it all cleaned up, and back at it Friday night. So there's really not much time in the summer season to get onto iRacing.
Lights are off in the iRacing pace car. We're getting them lined up 2 by 2 again. So real quick, where can the folks out there, where can the fans out there find your work? Where can we find Winged Up Productions?
Facebook's the easiest way. Just Winged Up Productions on Facebook. From there you can click on any of the links that'll bring you to my website through SmugMug, where all my photos are up. If you need to contact me or ask any questions, shoot me a message on Facebook and I'll get back to you as soon as I can.
That's the kind of real racing, iRacing crossover you get here on Main TV. All about connections. And these drivers, all about racing. You can see Brett Suggs up towards the front, single file. A little bit crazy towards the back. Craig Tully, I believe, is around. Indeed, he is. You can see he's going to get that Roma Bros repair car taken back. Toco Electric on the front of that car as well. He's got it straightened out, still green, and up front it's still single file till about 6th place. Rational Rich and Craig, a little side by side. Actually going to lose that spot going to gain that spot rather. Around Mike Rhino. Mike Rhino going to try and get it back on the high side. There's that bright blue car, the electric blue, Tim Woolridge. Zero car down to the bottom side. And actually, these guys are getting a little bit tangly, as our good buddy Mike James likes to say.
Yeah, that pack there is really fun to watch. That last caution, Danton kind of checked up and stayed off the 34's bumper. Now he's getting underneath him. And he's got the 10 car, it looks like, or the 81 car. It's hard to tell with that red number from the blimp. Following right in tail. If he follows him through there, I think he's one of the ones I had kind of picked to be up at the front by midway.
Mike Rano still don't necessarily want to call it stuck on the outside line because he hasn't really lost too much track position. You can see losing position to Tam Woldridge down to the bottom side. 18 with a little bit of connection issue again behind him. Josh Langell trying to get that sorted out in the Reaper machine. You can see still blinking in and out just a little bit. Jason Goss up in there as well. There's the 46 car of Ryan Libby trying to get one of the NEP guys up towards the front. And I believe looks like Ryan Libby, one of the fastest NEP guys right now, just barely into the top 10. And it looks like, Ashton, for the time being, it's gotten single file pretty much throughout the field.
Yeah, that's for the time being. You can see Tanton kind of playing with that high line. So you saw the 34 kind of stay with them. Actually, in practice, I tried the high line. I was racing with one of the other drivers that also didn't qualify. It's hard to get the power down on the bottom. Your car wants to slide up the track. So if you've got a guy to your outside, it's almost tough to pass. And you just saw it there with Tanton and the 34 of Mike Rhino. He couldn't get the power down, so it took him 3 or 4 laps, and while you're doing that, you're using up your tires, you're using up your equipment, and it's a little more stressful.
Watching this intense battle here for right around 8th on back to about 12th. We had to double check the leaders to make sure they were still in the race. Suggs, Alexander, Bonner, Fuzier checked out. They're about a second and a half almost over 5th place. Roma in the 83 machine, and closest racing action right here on track, and this is really where a good opportunity for a driver to learn something, be about themselves, their culture, and the drivers are going to be racing with throughout this one. Already getting close to the quarter marker here in this one, working lap number 21. The 18 car going to try and make a little magic happen. Down on that bottom side, going to try and slide up in front of Mike Rhino. Not quite. Mike Rhino showing that he's very, very strong on that high side, and I think we're going to see that play a factor here as later on in this one.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm even looking at the lap times right now for Richard Drake, who's kind of at the front of this pack. They're running the 18.6s. In practice, the fastest times were in your 17s to the 18.2s. So I think guys have kind of settled in. As I say that, they're still too wide behind them, but I think guys have settled in and they're kind of thinking, let's get to halfway before we start using our gear up.
Got to make mention, too, this is the longest green flag run that we've had so far here this evening, and we don't quite know what the tires are going to do. We've only had about 10, 12 laps between consies and heat races, a couple of laps in there qualifying as well. So a lot of these drivers starting to race into the unknown, not knowing how the car's going to handle as that fuel load burns up and as those tires start to wear. And we did make mention, this is the first race back in the iRacing in the season here for the TCM special events. A lot of these drivers been working on the real race cars, been at the real racetrack, haven't quite really been able to have the time to dust off the old wheel and pedals and plug it into the computer and do a little iRacing. So knocking the cobwebs out, and it seems, again, that we've got some familiar names up towards the front. Brett Suggs, Mike Alexander, No Fuzier, Roma, Drake, Woldridge, Langell, Barrett Bonner up there. I believe that's the first time I've called his name up in the podium anyway here for TCM. I may very well be wrong, but it's great to see. It's great to see that we had so many drivers show up here tonight. Race number 1, talking to race director Tim Terry before the show here tonight. Opened up 46 spots for this race, and all 46 of them filled up, and I think we had maybe 20 minutes or so left in final practice while that last position was taken up. So a great turnout here tonight. Good things to come for iRacing, Tim's Corner Motorsports, as well as iRacing.
Yeah, I know a couple of the names just from around here, and obviously your guys from your end, obviously racing in the real life, the IRL cars. But you got your Tanton Woldridge that stands out to me, that I know the name only because I know the car so well. But I know his schedule is busy. He's usually racing every Friday and Saturday, so I don't know how much iRacing he got to do. I know he's young, so I don't know if he was working full-time or not like we got to. But he's right up there with Richard Drake, who I know is very busy in the summer seasons also. It's nice to see them kind of not miss a beat and get right back into it.
And the young versus old thing, I can attest to that because I'm mid-30s now. When I started doing sim racing, I was a teenager. I was maybe 15, 14 years old back in the NASCAR heat days. I was racing league nights 5, 6, 7 nights a week, twice on Saturday and Sunday. Could not get enough of it. And now, oh my goodness, 40-hour work week, 50, 60-hour work week on top of chores and doing the adult thing, it's not fun. Anybody out there that's still in high school, enjoy it. Don't rush it, and do as much sim racing as you can for sure, especially if it's live right here on Verdane TV. But oh man, Josh Langile gets pointed in the wrong direction. He's out there saluting the fans, it looks like, and you can see big time damage on that 18 car. But that's long green flag run going to come to a close here on lap 33.
Yeah, now the strategies come into play. That's quite a few laps in on these tires. You start to think maybe test out what fresh ones would do. I've always thought it'd be nice to be able to put that set that you take off this early in the race into your inventory and be able to go back to it like the NASCAR guys do. You know, if they have a five lap run, quick run or whatever, they can go back to those tires. The 34 is heading down pit road actually.
Couple of takers coming down. Barkow's going to take that 15 car down onto pit road as well. Dylan Black, McKenna, and Josh Langile, the takers down on pit road. This is going to be interesting. Third of the way through this race, you're working lap number 35 of the advertised 100 lap distance. You can see a couple of drivers taking a little bit of fuel, taking some tires as well. This is going to be a big deal. You can see the 41 car of Gott's going to get the free pass, going to rejoin the field here on the lead lap. 23 drivers still on the lead lap. Only one out of this one, the 03 of Brandon Newhouse, due to a lap 2 incident. Tough break for Brandon. Easy enough for me to say. The English language, sometimes I struggle with it a little bit, but great racing.
Paul?
Hey, Tim.
You're struggling with the English vision, too, because Brandon Newhouse is actually back on the racetrack.
Why is this thing blue? Oh, yeah.
There he is.
There he is. How about that?
We're doing better than we were earlier tonight. Good field. We're trying to let this thing breathe a little bit. We had a couple of single car spins on the start of that last run, but we're trying to let this thing breathe and hopefully get some green flag racing in here.
Been an eventful night so far here, Tim, and well, Tim's out the door. Busy
I
man.
think you need to just take another sip of that beverage over there. It helps with the English language usually.
Yeah, sometimes. The only thing is I forgot to stop and get some beverages. So all I've got is Diet Dr. Pepper. Which I guess isn't a bad thing. But in any sense. iRacing lights are off.
I know I grabbed mine before the stream started. Maybe that's the reason I'm not in the race.
That definitely could be. And we've had some long nights up here in the booth where, well, we won't really get into that. We got a race to cover. iRacing pace car down pit road. Green flag flies, and there's the jump from Brett Suggs. Not going too far out, though. Mike Alexander making that high side work.
Yeah, I kind of like the looks of the outside line, and I think if more guys start running it, it could pay off. I got the dirt background where the track changes so often. It's nice to see, but usually that high line's where you want to be late in the race. So hopefully that's it's the same thing here, because 2 lanes would really make it interesting. I can see Richard Drake's kind of holding his own on the outside, and he's bringing a couple guys with him.
That adds to the mix in a very big way. Technician drivers opportunities to go in different places of the racetrack at different times. And when you're this early on, we're just about halfway, maybe 9-8 laps short from halfway here. And we've already got about a third of the field. You see Ryan Libby now going to jump up top and see what it's all about. There's a lot of drivers that are really feeling out that high side, and I think those guys that are kind of feeling it out now, they're going to be the drivers to watch. The Richard Drakes, the 14 car, back a couple of spots. Danny Vince way back about mid-pack there on the high side, just trying to make it work. Not so much because the high line's stronger, but because they'll be able to go where they need to. Oh, we got a car around. That's going to be John Byron, the 57 car. Gets it pointed out. Oh, the 35 slides sideways, and I think he corrected it as well. we stay green here, lap on 43. We heard it from the big man.
Oh, the 90 into the 14, and they're around. That was a chain reaction. I don't know. I had just switched over to cameras. Yeah, they checked up, and there was nowhere to go there for those two.
Big time damage there for Kenny Kibbe in that 14 car, and that gives us an opportunity here once again to pull up the U-House Racing Design instant replay, and kind of saw the tail end of that one, but we'll back up the tapes just a little bit here and see what we can see. And there you see, keep an eye on that 14 car. Looks like that is a major chain reaction. How about that? That is a big push. We're going to back that up just a little bit. So you can see James Pileski there in the 93 car. He's going to get into the back of the 14. No, just kidding. He's going to get into the back of the 90 here of Craig Kenny on the straightaway. You can see lifts the car up and kind of gets him a little bit out of shape, gets him into the corner a little bit too hard, and as he tries to get it corrected, gets into the left quarter panel, and as Craig Kenny gets it kind of straightened out, he actually gained a little bit of spot on the track and got into the quarter panel of the 14. That right there, ladies and gentlemen, is why we have a slow-mo button.
Race control is letting them know that a few more cautions and he'll have to change some stuff up.
Terry may take a no lip here in the TCM racing league, I guess we can call it. But
yeah, we could call it that.
Letting the drivers know that we will not be messing around here tonight. We're trying to entertain the masses here on Verdane TV. And again, I want to thank everybody for tuning in live. You're watching Verdane TV coverage of Tim's Corner Motorsports here. A little summer test and tune 100 at North Wilkesboro Speedway. Showtime, Paul Strickland Jr. up here in the production trailer with my good buddy Ashton Reiki, and we're calling some action here just about halfway. I want to thank you guys for tuning in on Facebook, TCM page, as well as Verdane TV page, my Twitch channel, Strictly94, and over on the YouTubes. And that YouTube app is something to behold if you've got a smart TV. Download it, search for Verdane TV. You can watch all of our previous shows on demand, and you can watch all of the new shows live. And we're going to take that green flag once again, and Brent Suggs, call him SpaceX because he shot off like a rocket. There you see Mike Alexander. He's still up in that upper groove, Ash, and he's trying to make that high side.
Yeah, look at Tanton Woldridge, who battled with the 34 at one point, who was in the high groove. I think he learned something. We were talking about them sitting around learning and just watching other things. I think he learned something because he just gained another position on the outside.
Sets his sight now on the driver up in front of Noel Fougere in the 36 car. Going to see if he can get that Chevrolet Chevy a little bit further up. Kenny Kibbe around in the 46 car. Just kidding, Ryan Libby around in the 46 car. Doesn't look like any major damage, but that's going to bring out caution flag once again. It's tough to tell what happened in this one, but we were also watching it in, in reverse. So we'll take a look at it. We're going to focus in on
Mike Alexander on pit road.
Brett Suggs still out front, has about 3, 4, 5 car lengths over the second place, about half a second over Barrett Bonner. They got it sorted out, it looks like, for the time being. Up front, Fuzier a little bit further on back. Barkhouse, Woolridge, and, big time wreck. Trying to get back to the mid-pack and talk to all the drivers and see all the drivers, but it looks like they're a little bit busy, Ashton.
Yeah, absolutely. That was the wild one. That sucks for the 75. He just come off pit road. So he wouldn't have been caught up in that had he waited a little bit longer, but he just got caught up in it. That's just unlucky.
Yeah, passed a lot of cars with the fresh rubber on the 75. You'll see the incident starts off a little bit further on up. Car gets turned on the outside wall. It's 14 to 35. Seems like they get by all right. But that's big time damage there for about 3, 4 cars. There's another shot to the 75 as well. So has the opportunity to come down pit road again, get it fixed up, get it banged out just a little bit, and it looks like the lead lap drivers are pretty much saying they're going to stay out. Jan Woolridge in the 56, or check that, the 0 car, going to come down pit road and get some work done on that machine. Looks like it's going to be some repairs, maybe some tires. Mike Rhino down pit road, Brian Libby, Mike Hopkins, Chris McKenna down there as well, and we saw the 75 already down there in that second or third pit stall, trying to get all the damage worked out on that and running out of time. We're past halfway here, working lap number 61, 100 laps on the docket here tonight. And from heat races, Paraconsis, to the first, 6/10 of this race, 6/10, three quarters of this race almost. No, 3/10, 3/5. I was never really good at math. But in any sense, we've seen some great racing here, Ashton.
Yeah, absolutely. My question would be, I wonder how much fuel they have left. So you see guys pitting. Are they worried about fuel? With all the caution laps we have, can you make it to the end? I think that's kind of what everybody's looking at. I don't think tires is going to be an issue. So we only had that one really long green flag run. I'm thinking it's more of a fuel game at this point.
And you got to remember, we did see some of these drivers come down pit road earlier on to top off fuel tanks, and they may not have enough to make it to the end, but they definitely will have to take less fuel come towards the end. There you can see the pit stop stint length. Top 3 drivers have been out for all 62 laps on that tank of fuel, as have Drake and Kyle in the 81 car. A couple of drivers, pretty much everybody else throughout the top 10, top 12, have come down within the past 20 or so laps. Barkhouse in third came down 28 laps ago for tires and fuel. So pretty cool little tool that we've got there with the iRacing SDK Gaming. Shout out to those guys for sure, and shout out to Barney and the flag stand for waving the green flag here on lap number 64. Not the restart that we're used to seeing. Brett Suggs still has not quite a side-by-side battle on his hands, but that 812 is not giving up. Bonner wants to get towards the front. Straightened it back out for first and second. Now we're side by side for third. Fuzier in the 36 car race side by side, doing a little trading paint action there with the Barkhouse machine up on the top side. The 15, the blue and white car. The 81 right in behind them. Kyle having a great run, top 5 so far. 83 right in behind of Roma. That's going to be Chris Roma making his way up towards the front. And Richard Drake, Kenny Kibbe, Travis Roma, Craig Tully rounding out the top 5, or top 10 rather. How about Craig Tully's recovery in that machine? Saw him pointed in the wrong direction earlier incident, back up into the top 10, and still trying to chase down Brett Suggs up in that 33 car. Has a little bit of a lead, 2-3 car lengths, maybe 0.3 of a second or so, and for the most part here, Ashton, everybody's kind of sorted out single file, but there's a couple of cars that are sideways. There's some damage from Mike Hopkins. Looks like he might have gotten himself involved in a little bit of a mishap.
Yeah, I was just noticing again. I'll bring it up again. Fuzier has almost moved up to a middle line in turn 1 and 2, and 3 and 4 he's down at the bottom. It's almost like that half a groove up is where you want to be in 1 and 2. The leaders are kind of doing the same thing, exiting right on the apex of the corner, right on the line there. But it was leaving the door open for Barkhouse just enough that he could get a nose in there. But if fuel's an issue, he's the first guy that has pit already, and if he knows that, maybe a game of patience here for Barkhouse and wait for them all to have to pit or run out of fuel so he can jump on the opportunity.
And that's a really good spot to be in if you know that or if you think even the top 3 drivers have to pit for at least fuel, maybe even tires. You've got fresher tires. You don't necessarily have to run hard to try and get those guys to get around those guys. So if you're going to pass them once they come down pit road, and the question is when? When do you come down pit road? Do you wait for a caution? How long can you go? Can you make it the full distance of 100 laps? Or would you even want to? Do you try risking it under green flag? See, these are all the questions that these drivers are asking themselves. Oh, by the way, while making off all these laps here, 72 laps now in the books, just about 3/4 through this race, 75%. How about that? Over 72%, 73 now into this one. And all these questions, all these lack of answers, this is why I'm in the broadcast booth, not behind the steering wheel anymore.
Yeah, and that's usually I would have, a couple different things set up on my screen to tell me, yes, you're going to make it the rest of the way. Here's what your tires possibly are at after a bunch of testing and stuff like that. In this case here, I don't have their in-cars. I don't have their crew chiefs talking to me. Barkhouse, I think, has kind of backed off a little bit, but now he's got Roma on his back bumper, so you start pushing it a little bit and hope that these guys run out of fuel in front of you. I don't think they're going to pit under green unless they run out of fuel completely. I think the top 3 have taken that chance of not pitting this long into the race. I don't think you'll see them down pit road unless they actually have to do it.
Top 5 cars, pretty much single file. Kenny Kibbe going to lead the jag of the cars here. Tim and Tan Holdren's kind of broke away just a little bit, and you can see back here Ryan Libby, Kyle, the 81, Reginald, Richard Gregg, Mike Rhino, Travis Roma all up in the mix as well. There you can see Craig Tully in the 50 car, and I think that's Gillespie in the 93, a lap down, but still has a strong race car trying to make it up towards the front, maybe get a lap back the hard way, as we've seen once or twice here on TV. But you can see it looks like the further on back into this pack that we look is Tully making a power move underneath the Roma machine. A little bit further on back, as we get further on back, I should say here, Ashton, we're seeing a little bit more damage in this one.
Yeah, I mean, at the short track, I don't know how much the body damage really matters. I saw guys in practice running some pretty quick times, even with the whole front end kind of pushed in a little bit. So I don't think damage is a big factor here, unless it's to the tires or suspension, things like that, like I had in the Consi there, where the steering wheel is pointed a whole other direction. Other than that, I think they're going to be all right. Everything's going to be close. Your top 5 are really starting to push it now. There's only 20 to go, or coming to 20 to go. It's going to get exciting now.
Coming to the stripe, going to be 20 laps to go, and you can see we've been following this battle for second. Bonner, Fouchier, and Roma with Barkhouse waiting in the wings there in P5. Each and every single lap we see these drivers, they get closer and closer and closer, and they're getting to the point where they're almost going to start kind of pushing each other in the corner, so you can see Roma all over. There's a little nudge, a little bit of a nudge there to the back bumper of Fouchier, just kind of letting them know, hey, bud, it's time to go, and I'm ready to go. So there's an 83 car toying with him at this point. Going to see if he can break him. Going to see if he can get into the back of the head of Fouchier.
Yeah, now is the time, I would say, to try that top line. If you're the 83, you got a little bit fresher tires. He did pit. I forget exactly when, but I know he was one of the cars that pit. I think now's the time to take that look, and you see Tanton Woldridge is also coming back into the screen there. He was on pit road not too long ago, so are those fresher tires paying off in this long run? There's that great chart that you had earlier. So there's Roma. He pit not long ago also. I think those tires are going to pay off.
Yeah, 100%, 17 laps to go in this one, and you can already see Tanton Woldridge just trying to get the preferred line, trying to get around Libby, and he's got a side-by-side battle up in front of him that sorted itself out. 14 to slide on up into that spot. Brett Suggs at this point is doing what Brett Suggs does, focusing. Very intense sim racer, very intense real racer, very quick no matter where he goes. Came home with, I believe, the second heat race victory here tonight, first one of the season. to kick it off, but he's got 15 laps to go. Looking in his rearview mirror, 9/10 on back, he can see Barrett Bonner strongly holding on to that spot, but it's approaching about a second gap now. So I think if this one goes green, I might want to be pointing at the 33.
Yeah, his best friend right now is the 36 of Fougere, holding the guys that have pitted back, because the 14 came with a head of steam also. The 83 now looking below Fougere. I think if the 83 gets by, he might run out of time, but he's coming fast.
That has been a battle that's been going on for about 5, 6, 7 laps. The 83 has been nudging, tapping, and bumping the back bumper of that 36 car. Fougere not giving up, holding on that kind of 1.5, almost 2 grooves up. Little bit of grip up there, but I don't know. He's really going to hold on to it. He wants to hold on to that spot. Caution flag flies. Looks like Goss around in at the 41 car.
I'll ask the booth guy after this replay.
Looking at the U-House Race Designs instant replay, and we're going to focus in here on the 41 car, the Matt Gray. There's 90 making a little contact on the outside wall. Looks like he checks up a bit, slows up, gets it kind of fixed a little bit, and well, we'll let the fans call that one, I suppose.
So I'll ask the guy in the booth. As the top 3, do you come down pit road and get those tires?
You're asking me?
Yeah.
That's why I'm up here in the production booth. You asked me to go get a corn dog. I'll go get a corn dog. I'm not going for tires with 10 to go. Heck no.
What if there's a corn dog waiting for you on pit road?
Oh.
I just, the amount of speed Tanton Woldridge had coming through the field, the 83 of Roma, even the 14 there, I think it's of Kibbe, he was fast also. I think they're sitting ducks at this point now.
It's really tough to tell. I think with these drivers, there's 3 drivers, 4 drivers that the top 3 in any sense have been out for the entire race. So 91 laps on that set of tires. More importantly, on that same tank of fuel. And it seems like they feel like they've got enough to make it. But again, we'll see. Didn't come down at this point to get tires. Maybe they're confident in the fuel making it all the way. But if you're Suggs, you've got a little bit of a cushion because you've got a couple of drivers in behind you that have the same tires. They're not going to necessarily block for you, but that's more drivers that Roma and Kibbe and Libby have to try and get through Woldridge with those fresher tires. But by the time some of those drivers make it through those older tires, the race is going to be over. We've only got 8 laps to go.
I was over trying to see if their miles per hour were dropping to find out if they were shutting the car off. Nothing was really moving much. That would have told me that they're worried about fuel. So if they're not worried about fuel, their only concern is tires. And the first guy that I'd be worried about is the guy in the second on the bottom, and we're green now.
Oh, we are racing back there for 5th or so. Ryan Libby all the way up high. And great restart for Brett Suggs at the 33 as always. But how about this gaggle of race cars? Everybody, remember how the 83 and the 36 were racing and they were touching bumpers? Now there's about 15 cars doing that.
Yeah, and the 36 got a really good launch on the top side. It looks like the 83 spun the tires. He was able to dive down. And 83's got to go back to work all over again to try and get by him, but he doesn't have the time like he had before.
High five for Barney in the flag stand. 5 laps to go in this one. Oh, how about a big time spin? A little silhouette of spinning. I think everyone saved it. Wow. We'll put that on the highlight reel. That was some 100% commentary there from Showtime Paul Street Jr. Great racing. These guys know there's 4 laps to go in the very first race of the season here with Tim's Corner Motorsports and the iRacing Series. Brett Suggs doing everything he can to hold on to it, and these guys doing everything they can to delay that very win. Caution flag number 8 flies here. Going to give us a green light checkered restart, and it's going to give us another opportunity to look at the U.S. Racing Designs instant replay. But Ashton, holy cow, how about this action?
There was excitement everywhere, from the front to the back. That was, it's about to happen again.
You're on the lead lap at a short track and there's a restart with less than 5 to go, you pretty much mathematically have a shot at winning that one. But we're going to take a look at this instant replay here, brought to you by U-House Race Designs. And we're looking at it from the clip, high atop the racetrack, and there's a bunch of drivers that seem to go for the same piece of real estate at the same time, and I may have backed this tape up just a little bit too much. Nope, there's Roma up in the outside wall, 15 gets slowed, a little bit of a bump there into the back of Roma, and there's an incident up in front of them, everybody trying to slow down for it. There's a lot going on in that one, there's a lot of cars involved. Three laps to go. Very first race of the season here in TCM. The winner of this race, oh, by the way, gets an invitation and qualifies in for the TCM 300, the big show, the Daytona 500, the Super Bowl of iRacing and Tim's Corner Motorsports, the TCM 300. I think it's the 4th annual, 5th annual. A couple of times been here on Verdane TV. Winner of this race, you're into that one automatically, and that's going to be one heck of a show. Again, here on Verdane TV. Restart. 3 laps to go. Down on the bottom side. Brett Suggs, he wants to hold on to it. He's got Bonner up on the high side and a house of names in the top 10. Fuzier, Roma, Libby, Woldridge, Kibbe, Rhino Black, and Kyle in the 81 car. Top 10 drivers, everybody here on the lead lap has a shot to win it. 14 drivers on the lead lap. Ashley, we're going green with 3 laps to go. 2 laps to go.
Fuzier got a good jump with the leader on that one on the inside line. I don't think he'll have enough to catch him, but this should be a good battle for him second on back.
Brett Suggs did exactly what he needed to do. That A12 is trying to make it work. He wants to get around that second place car. He wants to get around the leader, but does he have the time? White flag, white rag flies. Mike Rhino trying to hold on to position down a little bit further on back, and he's doing everything he can, but it's all Brett Suggs all the time. Up front, Fuzier trying to hold on to the second spot from a hard-charging 812 from Bonner. Checkered flag goes to Suggs, comes home and wins the very first race of the season. And everybody else crosses the start-finish line almost simultaneously.
The 36 was sideways off of 4 on those last 2 laps. I don't know how they all saved it, and congrats to Brett Suggs. That one hell of a race.
Definitely a way to kick off the season here. TCM 300 coming up in December, and Brett Suggs is going to be racing in that very race. He comes home with the win. Noah Fuzier comes home second. Barrett Bonner comes home third. We're going to try and talk to those 3 drivers. Before we go off the air here tonight, Ryan Libby comes home 4th. Chris Roma comes home 5th. And you can see the rest of the field coming through here. A great show here tonight, Ashton. Good racing. Once we got the kinks worked out with those pair of consies, I think everything worked out pretty good.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Those last 25, 30 laps where we got the outside line was kind of working. We saw guys with different strategies. We saw Tanton come back through. And then Noel just try and get there at the end. Just didn't have that. Needed that little bit more. I'd say another 10 laps and he might have been able to catch him.
Rig away during this real racing. Picked up from where you left off last year.
Yeah, we had a pretty good run out there this evening. Just good to get back into TCM leagues and have some fun with the boys.
Good showing here tonight. Led a whole bunch of laps here. Any kind of strategy coming into North Wilkesboro? Did you do any studying with the Cups, or not the Cup Series, the Racetrack Revival race, the big race there? Any TV, anything that kind of helped you out tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I was there last week for the big finale between the Cars Tour and the limited late model portion. So I was there all last week, and I don't know if that really helped me for tonight because we're on the 87 layout as opposed to what they're running on nowadays. But no, just trying to keep doing what we do here, especially at Wilkesboro. It's been a good track for us in the past, and just trying to get that thing to turn, man. Super tight this evening. I was trying to spin the tires the best I could and get some heat in that right rear, but anything we could do to get it turned is what I was going for tonight.
Comes home with a solid victory here tonight, and it's great to see you run good again, and want to give you an opportunity to thank anybody that makes it happen for that virtual 33 team.
Absolutely. Shout out everybody at Team 33, twitch.tv/BrettSuggs33 tuning in this evening. We had some people hanging out. Also had Keach on the box calling them shots for me, so appreciate that. As well as Racer Tees, man. This car is probably one of the hottest cars we've driven in quite some time. So Racer Tees hooking us up. Coney Setup Shop, T1S Racing, everybody that puts this whole deal together, Brett Suggs Racing Marketing. We're supposed to be going to Chris Motorsports Park this weekend for some IRL work at the racetrack, but got rained out, so we'll have to find another race, maybe go to the Cars Tour this weekend.
In Aberdeen TV, we always remind you to make sure you get out there and support your local short track for sure. The drivers as well. Always buy the t-shirts. But a great run here, Brett. We will see you. We will see you soon.
Yep, appreciate it, guys. Thanks, Tim, and y'all for the stream and everything. Really appreciate it.
Always love to hear it. I'm going to kick it a little bit further on up pit road. Ashton, you've caught up with our second place driver, Noah Fougier.
Yeah, I have. Noel, great run tonight. You fell back. The first thing I got to ask was fuel or tires ever a thought during this race? It seemed like towards the end there, some of the guys that took tires were coming back after you guys.
Yeah, I was kind of starting to sweat at the end, especially with Chris was really putting it on me there at the end. I was gonna pit. I had fully planned to pit around halfway and take tires. I did like a kind of a mock, like just practicing this morning. So I knew we'd be like good for fuel. But I was gonna come in halfway and take the tires because like, we have the set, might as well use them, right? But cautions just kind of kept coming out at weird points where the tires just weren't really getting worn enough to warrant coming in. And Brett and Barrett were both staying on the track, so I said I might as well stay. And then Tanton pitted, and after like 10 laps, he had only gained a few spots. And I was watching him to see how far he would get on new tires, and I'd seen that he didn't get very far at all. So I said, well, there's probably no point now. And I was hoping that last little run that the caution wouldn't come out, but it did. But thankfully it all worked out. It was good, clean racing up front. I was being very annoying to Chris. I was racing the heck out of him. He was trying to come through on new tires, and I was making my car about as wide as I could. And he probably could have driven through me about 12 different times, so I appreciate him not doing that. And that restart at the end, I raced good with Barrett there and managed to come home P2.
Yeah, absolutely. Chris had you sideways a couple times, I would say, especially through that long run and through the last 25 laps. At one point, you moved up into that top lane, almost middle. Was the top lane coming in for you guys, and was that working better than the bottom at one point?
I was really trying to conserve my right front as much as possible because this track is really old and really rough. So taking care, and this setup is really tight. The way that they build these fixed setups, they're always like they're easy to drive, but they get really, really tight if you don't take care of them. And running the top in 1 and 2 just kind of made it a little easier to arc the turn and not put as much load on the right front. 3 and 4, you had mostly run the bottom, just hook the apron all the way around. But I found actually that when it comes to side-by-side racing, the outside line actually had a little bit of an advantage, which kind of surprised me, but it makes sense, getting the run off the corner and stuff. But and when it comes to trying to be in the way of the person behind you. In my case, being in the way of the person who is way faster than you behind you, running the top lane can be kind of effective in that. But yeah, this track is very one groove. It's very hard to pass, so you just kind of got to experiment and see what works.
Awesome. It's like great to have you out. Who do you got to thank for getting you here tonight?
I got to thank you guys throwing out this kind of spontaneous show. I'm glad there was so many cars. Like Tim was saying in the drivers meeting, I really didn't think there'd be 40 plus cars here today, but that's awesome to see. Obviously Tim, the guys at Vidane, I know this was sort of a shakedown for them. I hope everything went well and they got things sort of situated for the coming season, off-season thing that we got going on. My grandparents are watching. They always watch me when I do these things, and even though it's kind of last minute, they hopped on and they're watching me, even though it is 10:30 at night and they should probably go to bed. Yeah, so just thanks to everybody for putting this show on, and yeah, it's been fun.
Awesome. Thanks again for coming out, and good luck this season with Tim's Corner.
Awesome. Thanks, Ashton.
Hold on. Number one, Ashton, I'm going to make you work down to pit road to interview third. But Noel, don't you have to go to bed? Don't you have an anthem to sing on Saturday or something?
I was wondering why you would call us here so late in the week when we all have commitments this Saturday. I have to. I have to have at least a day and a half rest.
We had a lot.
Myself.
We raced on Monday at Oyster Bed. We had a live show last night. What were we doing Tuesday? Sleeping. So yeah, I mean, this is the only time to throw it in the schedule. So go get some sleep. We'll see you Saturday.
Awesome. Thanks, Timmy. We'll see you then.
That's Noel Fougier, and now Ashton has worked his way back down to the end of pit road to catch up with Barrett Bonner, our third place finisher.
I have. I'm just catching up to him here. Barrett, that was a great run by you guys. You had a lot of speed early on, and you stayed up front. What was the strategy, and were you concerned about maybe fuel or tires at any point?
Yeah, we were talking about tires every caution there, but I didn't want to give up any track position, and it's no good to have fresh tires and have 20 guys in front of you wrecking. So I know Brett runs these all the time, and he's really good in this car. So I was just happy to follow him and do what he does and try and learn.
Couple of the restarts there, you got stuck on the outside, but you didn't give up. And I kind of asked Noel the same thing. Was the outside line something that you could work with, and was it coming around and then it kind of went away at the end, or did it stay there?
I think the bottom's definitely where you want to be, but like Noel said, you want to protect the right front the whole time. So I was trying to be nice with those tires. I didn't think we were going to go 100 and something laps on them, but definitely wasn't nice to them on the outside there on some of those restarts. I was using up a lot of what I had saved, so just trying to stay up there and be in a good spot for the next restart. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Did you run any test runs? Have you run anything else that kind of helped you out with today?
No, I did. I just did like 20 minutes of offline testing before the public lobby went up here, and just to see if I was going to embarrass myself. Jumped in the practice lobby, and I was taking some time out and icing my hand and wrist here, and in between doing some practice laps. Just happy to do something a little different. It was a good time.
The solid commitment. So you're obviously racing injured.
Yeah, less. That's a long story, but
so the solid commitment to Tim's Corner, obviously, racing injured. Who else do you got to thank for being here tonight?
Just you guys. Just happened to see the email Tim shot out there the other day, and I said I haven't run any of these for a couple of years. It's always a good time, so I thought Kansas isn't being very nice to me this week in the officials. They're week 13, so I said let's do something that might not tank the iRating any further. So gave it a shot. So
I mean, are you going to come back full time and maybe run for points this year with Tim's Corner Motorsports?
I would definitely run a few for sure. Got some other commitments on the eNASCAR side of iRacing, but when time allows, I'll definitely run it. It's a good time.
Awesome. Congratulations. Great run today. You were up front the whole time, so it certainly showed that you had a chance at the end of this one.
Yeah, just was hoping. I was waiting for Brett to make a mistake, and I think I saw him clip the curb once. So one mistake in 100 laps isn't enough to get by him. So
Right. And just got nosed out by Noel at the end there. It was a great race.
Yeah, he certainly had a chance to turn me a couple times. He didn't, so I don't mind giving him the spot. And we were in the waiting room there here. We both felt that we raced pretty hard and clean, and it was a good time.
Awesome. Thanks again a lot, and we'll bring it back to either Tim or Paul.
We'll go back to Paul. Paul's coming back from the little boys' room, but congratulations to everybody. Great show. Little bit, I see Mike James was watching earlier. We'll use his line. A little bit tangly in the middle of the field on back. But I think a good way to start it off. Congratulations to Brett Suggs. He's locked into the TCM 300 as long as he makes an attempt to qualify for the event. Yeah, that was fun. Looking forward to the next one, which will probably be somewhere between now and in between the 300 on tentatively December 9th, which is another week 13. So that should be fun. We're racing tomorrow night on Tim's Corner TV as a part of the Car Star Weekly Racing Series at Scotia Speed World, so head over there, check that out. Saturday at Riverside. Sunday, I'm down Barrett's Way, I think at Lake Dowsett Motor Speedway. That's going to be fun. Really looking forward to that sportsman battle. 6 drivers, 12 points. 4 drivers, 4 points. That's if you're in Yarmouth and you're in that area, you need to get out to Lake Dowsett Sunday for that one. But Paul, that's it. What else do you have on the go?
Monday night, we're going to have Liberty Racing Series coming back for race number 2 in their season next Thursday. Just penciled in. Yap's going to have themselves a little bit of a practice race. Broadcast it live on TV next Thursday night. These guys kicking off their season number 4 on October 13th in Daytona. That's going to be a phenomenal race to watch. And keep an eye out on the socials, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, all that good stuff. We're working with a couple of new leagues, and Nexus Sim Racing coming back next Friday as well with their series. But a great race here tonight. Got a lot of kinks worked out up here in the broadcast booth. Still always work to do. That's what we're going to do right now. Thank you so much for tuning in here tonight. Live at Today TV. We'll catch you on the flip side when we do. We'll be doing it live. Bye.